As soon as it starts in. Should be any second. There we go. Okay, it's working.
All right.
Send you the link. There you go. There you go. Yeah, I see it now. Okay. Yep, it's podcast. There you
All right. And that. I will save the draft and just make sure it's working on Metanorn.
Yeah, so now it's over live. Okay, got it.
Yeah, still get that delay in there. Oh well.
Can't be helped.
You have
I feel like,
any idea how long it is?
let's see.
I feel like it's about 2-3 seconds off on my end anyway.
All right.
Not bad.
Maybe someone could just like clap on camera and we'll see how long it takes to get there. Well, it's hard to tell audibly because the sound gets really confusing, and I can't see your hands behind.
Oh yeah, that's one thing. I need to turn you guys down.
Okay, it's like the almost 20-second delay, I think.
Oh wow.
It seems better than last time. I want to say.
Yeah.
Alright, so I guess you can do your intro, whatever.
All right, I am going to publish the post here on Metanorn.
That's right.
Just gotta make sure that's
Retweet it. Yeah, there we go.
it's working. It's weird to use one where you don't use the more thing. There's really no need to. All right. So I'm going to close that window right there. Leave these comments up. We'll just kind of sit around for a couple minutes and talk before we get the show. We'll get started about like 9:02 or whatever.
Right, that's fine. We're a little early. So what have you guys been up to?
Just trying to catch up on all this anime that's coming out today.
Yeah, it seems like coming out slowly for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm used to like 4 or 5 things coming out at once, not 1, 2.
Yeah, that is weird. Like Fate comes out pretty late. World Trigger comes out later in the evening.
Yeah.
Early evening.
It's like all this about sign up for first impressions just all came out at once. Like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
All at once,
Yeah.
really?
It's the
I got a
start
busy
of the season.
Sunday and Monday for that.
So I have no idea if we have any viewers right now, but we'll be getting started in just about a minute or so.
It says
Well,
I'm
I-
having 2 viewers.
I have the YouTube link open, and it says there's one watching now. But is it counting me or is it counting Fosh? Because I know Fosh is watching it too. See, now it says 3.
It might be counting you,
Hmm.
but it's fine.
So if it's 3, then it's me, Fosh, and someone else. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
it's the same guy who popped up last time. You remember him, right?
oh yeah, that guy that accidentally walked in and watched us test.
Yeah, that happened.
What y'all doing? Hey.
It's in on some Metanorn secrets, which are now public.
It's all good.
Well, it's back down to 2 now. I guess this guy left.
We don't like that person. Until
Yeah.
they come back on, then we like them.
those guys are just sitting there chatting, which is what we'll be doing the whole time, actually, but with a little more purpose.
Right.
All right, I'm looking at the clock. 21:01. Try to go by military time as much as I can. All right. Why don't we get this show on the road?
All right, sounds good.
This is how it always goes. Clear my throat 20 times. Hello, everybody, indeed. Welcome to the MetaVerse podcast. This is MetaVerse Live. We are doing this live streaming on YouTube via Foshizzle's channel because he has enough subscribers for us to do so. I'm J-Ro, as you can see down here at the bottom. I am joined by Foshizzle.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Hoshi.
Hi.
Smiley.
Hello.
And joining us, our special guest from the Monogatari series, Shinobu's here.
Kaka!
So, how's Arararararararagi doing?
I have no clue.
She
You should
doesn't really
know.
care anymore.
You got the wrong lolly there.
Yes, so that is
Pronounce it
Skyline.
right. While I'm online, can you please pronounce the word correctly?
Lowly. Sorry.
Thank you.
Although Smiley should be sorry because he's the one who said.
I am not sorry.
I'm not sorry.
I'm not sorry.
Ollie, Rolly, whatever you want to call it. Little kid. That thing over there.
All right, so people that are watching, we've already explained this enough over the past few days, what we're going to be talking about. We're going to do a Q&A, and we're going to be talking about some of the fall shows that have come out so far. And I figure we should get started a little bit with the Q&A, and then we can get to fall discussion, and then we can kind of finish up our live stream with some the rest of the Q&As that we have gotten. So we start with Q&A from Blackbriar, who gave us quite a few, so we're going to read as many of his questions as we possibly can. The first one is, people say an anime should have ended this way or that way because it didn't sit well with them. If you were in control of an anime and had the privilege to manipulate it how you see fit, would you? And if so, how would you handle the story's execution? So for this question, we're kind of the director in this one. You guys have any feelings on this? Would you manipulate plot elements from an adapted source? Tosh.
Yeah, because anyone can answer that. Would I change some things? Let's see. Yeah, I guess maybe certain outcomes, like certain shows that just ended, like Captain Earth just ended. I probably would have done a entirely different ending than what they did because it was just kind of rushed. But yeah, I think I mean everyone has their own opinion on how a certain show should end. Maybe a pairing that they wanted to see actually happen. Like in Captain Earth comes to mind again because there's a lot of pairings that I wish they did or had more time to explore or things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe more episodes. That's what I would think.
Yeah, more episodes, more backstories and stuff.
Yeah, more backstory shows. I mean,
More plots, backstories.
but most of the time it seems very straight on episode length. Most of the time for me.
Oh yeah.
Some get 10, some get 20, some get 50, and even the 50 ones don't even have a full story.
Yeah, I think if I were a director of anime, I think I would, I would sort of pick my spots, whereas to sort of manipulate or change elements of the story to where I think maybe it works a little better if they did it this way. Maybe the mangaka or the light novel, whatever, that did the story that way, but maybe that didn't quite work and try something else. But the thing is, when you're doing those anime, you're trying to please the people that love the manga or whatever, and you manipulate one thing, they're gonna be on you like hound dogs.
Right, that's true. A lot of time they get backlash from the manga fans or the novel fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
always the thing because, an anime should be an anime and your source material should remain your source material. They're two different mediums and different elements work differently for for either medium. So I mean, you have to do what works for 22 minutes of television.
Hmm. Yeah. And a lot of times that seems to involve just basically cutting stuff. It doesn't
Yep.
really seem like they're, it's all of a sudden like this character like loves them instead of just like being friends or something. You never see anything that crazy in anime.
Some
But,
shows I know do actually shuffle some, I guess, arcs, so to speak, around.
Mhm.
I think what was the previous one, the most recent one that did? I think didn't Tokyo Ghoul do that for a bit? They took one of the arcs and made it earlier or something along those lines.
Yeah, they did. I remember reading it. Yeah, they totally switched it over, so I didn't watch anymore. Like I don't want them to do that because, well, of course, the manga is different and the pacing of the manga is a lot slower, so of course the anime has to speed it up. But like that's why well, if you read it first, that's why it bugs me because it's like, well, now it doesn't lead up to that point where Kaneki totally changes and it doesn't have the same effect as it had in the manga to me. So.
All right. Let's see. Let's get another question here from Blackbriar while we can. Let's go with a light one here. This one directed at Skyline. Would you go into a severe withdrawal if there was an entire season of anime of shows that didn't have any lolis?
Nah, I'd be okay.
Yeah,
I've
live
often
for it, right?
said, yeah, a lowly does not make a show. I mean, come on, let's get real here.
Yeah, it's true.
Let's
If I had to go a
see.
year without Mecha, I don't know. Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
I'd probably go back my backlog and rewatch like shows, other shows, like Valve Rave again, just to have something. I don't know. What about you? If there's no sports, what'd you do, Jared? No sports anime.
I would live
Yeah.
because it took me a while to actually like sports anime, and I get enough from just watching Premier League and NFL and NBA, so I
Yeah,
got my
that's
drama
true.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm watching the LeBron James anime coming up in November. It lasts 9 months.
That's a
Well,
thing.
Yeah. And since let's go ahead and do one more. This one comes from Faux Shizzle.
Oh wow. That sounds.
Wonder who that is.
I don't know.
Who was the worst character of the summer season, and who was the best character?
Oh.
You might answer that last.
I almost feel like I don't know what shows aired in summer because I'm watching all these fall shows and I'm forgetting. But
Yeah. The only name that comes to mind for worst character I mean, it's debatable. People have the whole Inaho versus Slane. Who's the worst? Who's the best character? It's always a hot debate with some people. Like, who do you go with?
So is it not? So is it like you can't like both? You have to hate one and like the other?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's people that like both, but it's like, you usually get the question like, how can you like both characters? Like, is that even possible?
Mm-hmm. I guess for female character, I would have to kind of give it a tie maybe between Honey and Scarlet from Space Dandy Season 2. I liked how they were more involved in the actual story elements of the series instead of just being the girls that worked at their job, that they got a little bit of story time, and I thought that was really good for Season 2. And,
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know who worst character would be. You guys have any thoughts?
I was thinking Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Couldn't they
You
just
guys
they
are
either
so harsh.
well, they either didn't give him enough time to develop, or they just made him too whiny. And at the very end, he was like guy trapped in a chair, and yeah.
You told me, it's like, it totally ruined it. I hate that because every day I go like, oh, I don't like Tokyo Ghoul. I'm like, did you read the manga first? I'm like, no. I go, if you read it, trust me, it's a little bit better, trust me. Because you make Kaneki like
Always the
case annoying. It's always the manga. Now I feel offended every time somebody says they don't like Tokyo Ghoul. I'm like, well, you
Yeah,
should
I would say the anime didn't really do it justice. I mean,
did not.
unfortunately, that
But,
happens sometimes.
best character, if I can point correctly here. There we go. Best character. Is that good enough? There we
Yeah.
go.
Nice. Yeah, that's
No.
funny.
This is mirror image, so I can't quite do it right.
Yeah, true. For mine, I'd pick by Sakura Chio from Gekkan. She was just great to watch.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I think all the characters in that series I haven't found one that I don't
Yeah,
like. They're all
you're
fun.
hard pressed to pick a bad character there.
Yeah.
Hmm. You were pointing at. Oh, that's actually Nori. For some reason, I thought it was Shinobu still, but Kaiki from Hanamonogatari. I really liked his role in that, and I mean, I think that's enough for him to be one of my favorite male characters.
Yeah, that series kind of came and went fast. It was here and then gone. I'm like, okay.
Yep, one
kinda-
sitting, 2 hours, which is
Yeah.
the way I think Monogatari series stories should be viewed. All
Yeah,
at once.
definitely. That's
All
what
at
I
once instead
felt.
of episodically.
My worst characters, everyone in Glass Slip. I don't like any of them. Sorry.
Wow.
They're all bad.
Boo.
They're all terrible.
I
Except
was
for,
watching this, you know.
except for Glasses Girl, and I thought they were gonna do a plot where she died and then brought the characters together, but nope, not even her.
All right, so let's get back to the Q&A in a little bit, but right now we will go to our Fall 14 anime impressions. We have about 10 shows that have come out, and we will start with one that has 2 episodes out already, which is Terraformers. Fosh, you have watched this. What do you think about it?
Cockroaches in space. It's kind of creepy.
Mhm.
It's all the same. Well, the designs of the characters kind of some people don't like them, some people like them. I know when the manga was out, a lot of people kind of blamed the roach designs as being kind of racist. I mean, just the way they look and how they act. Wait, that's the biggest complaint I heard from people that read the manga. But anime-wise, it's censored heavily. I don't like that. Just
Oh,
like
yeah.
we
Oh,
all have
good.
the same error problem that it's all censored. But it doesn't take away from the show. But it's kind of a horror show. It's kind of the point, isn't it? They have blood and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so far it's kind of it's all right. I mean, I like what they're doing so far. It is weird that the humans they have bug DNA in their systems, so it's kind of weird. So I guess they're gonna be
Yeah, it is.
transforming into like half human, half bug looking creatures, which is a little different. Like I said, I'm not used to that, but it's not bad.
Well, you know what they say. You have to fight fire with fire. In
Yeah,
this
that's
case, I
true.
guess that means bugs.
La cucaracha, la cucaracha.
And they were smashing. They're like smashing a bunch of people in the episode too. So the fighting with the bugs has started.
Yeah.
The fighting. Goodness
More like-
gracious, that was curb stomping.
Yeah, landslide. They got stomped real fast. There's a point where it's like one of the bugs ripped off this guy's spine. It was like out of Mortal Kombat or something. And he was using his spine as a
Yep.
weapon and swinging it around, killing people. I'm like, holy crap, this is. So if it wasn't censored, I probably would like it more. But whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel the same with what Highway said in the comment section of Kyokai's post, is that I just don't like that art style. It looks very, even seeing those pictures, it just looks very rough and kind of reminds me of some shows kind of like Zetman or something that had that kind of rough, violent look to it. I don't know,
Yeah.
for some reason I just am not attracted to those shows.
Yeah, every character started thick, and they just made certain characters thicker looking, didn't they?
All right.
Right. I haven't found a character I like yet. Maybe the main guy. He's kind of interesting. Only because he wrestled the bear in episode 1. That's awesome.
I don't know if I would call that wrestling, but yeah.
No, yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, he got owned, and he's like, "Oh wait," woke up and kicked the bear's ass. I'm like, "Jeez, crazy."
All right, so we move on to our next series, which is Denki Gai no Honya-san, an anime about people working at a sort of like an anime bookstore and or just anime store in general, I guess. But the main thing they were looking at were
Manga
arrows.
and doujinshi.
Manga and doujinshi. Oh yeah. Skyline. The three of us, you, Fosh, and I watched. How did you feel about this?
I liked it. It was genuinely very funny. I liked all the characters in it. It was just kind of neat watching them, especially the Hanakana character at the end breaking down, trying to get to the deadline to create her fan work. and all that. And then there was the character of the sommelier, which I think is really stretching that term an incredible deal. You know, I mean, I used to work in a comic book store myself, and when people said, "What do you recommend?" I said, "The shelf back there. Go read stuff. Quit bothering me." You know, but yeah.
Yeah.
You can recommend someone drink Thunderbird wine with Popeye's fried chicken. That doesn't make you a sommelier.
Yeah, it just seemed like one of those. It was the only thing that really missed for me in the episode, because it was one of those things they just wanted to make like, oh, here's this guy. He has a secret skill. He can pick your manga. It's like, yeah, a lot of what you said, Sky. But I came into the first episode. I was a little bit cynical, to be honest. I was worried about the meta nature of the show getting in the way of a lot of things, but it showed that it had some heart, and it had some nice characters. It reminded me in a better way of kind of like Working or Servant X Service, where it's interesting characters that you're seeing in and out of their jobs. And I was surprised how much I liked it, and I think I'll watch more just for sort of a light, fun show.
Right, definitely. I wouldn't watch it go in the series, but yeah, is that Working Servant X Service? Very much so, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of fun characters. Just watching them play off each other is just fun. Especially like the manager, I guess. He's kind of a perv. He's always filming people. And all the characters kind of got these perverted side to him. It's pretty funny, like Sensei.
Mm-hmm.
But a girl who doesn't say anything, she's got these sharp teeth, whatever. She's into yaoi and BL, and it's just, all these characters have like a funny side to them.
Mm-hmm. It is weird to see someone work in a store like that going, "What's BL?"
Right, yeah, it's true, yeah.
Yeah.
But I also liked the girl that came in and was looking at all the novels and seeing where they were at, and these shouldn't be opened and stuff. And the director kind of seems like one of those characters that'll kind of come in and just sort of like very quickly just kind of like take over a scene or kind of steal a scene with a line or two.
Right, and voiced by Yuko Bashi. She always does like these crazy over-the-top characters. That when you hear her voice, it just I can't help but start laughing. She could be serious, but I can still laugh at her voice. She's got that weird way of speaking, I guess. One thing I will say of the character designs, I didn't really like it when I saw the trailers, but seeing them in motion and moving around kind of make they're not bad looking anymore to me. I can watch them.
All right. All right, so we move on to, I don't know the Japanese name for the show, but it's much better and easier to understand the English version, which is, I can't understand what my husband is saying. Now,
actually, the Japanese title could be used as a very good tongue twister. It's Dana ga nani o ideru ga wakaranai ken. And if you can say that 5 times quickly, I would be impressed. I think anyone would be impressed, actually.
I'd have to have it.
Well, I think you just blew everyone's mind on that. I mean, I don't know how to say it. I mean, props to you, I guess.
I practiced.
Now, can you say that title like Black Hanakawa?
Okay, let's give that a go. Danya ga nyani no hiteru ka wakarani aiken. Yeah, something like that. Sounds worse.
Good job.
All right, so aside from that, Smiley, it was a short episode. I don't think I didn't know for sure whether or not it was going to be a 20-some minute episode or just a short, but for the couple minutes that we got, what did you think?
Well, I personally thought it was hilarious. I mean, they threw in some pretty obvious gags. The best one so far was the part where the husband is watching. He's watching
Mika Kunin.
Mika Kunin, yeah. Engaged to the Unknown and Identified. And he's watching Mashiro, of course, because everyone knows Mashiro. And so the wife is like, I don't get it. Why do you like this stuff? It turns around and he's just like, Mashiro is my waifu. And then she gets upset and she's yelling. She's like, aren't I your wife? And I just thought that, I mean, yeah, we could have seen that one coming, but it was still funny. And so if a show is able to make such an obvious joke just humorous, I think it's doing something right. I mean, there are plenty of other things too, like the part where she wants to go out and do something, and the otaku, typical, is just lazing around in the couch actually,
Hmm.
and he's like, "You have to motivate me," and and so she goes like, "Yeah," or something, and immediately they're on the road.
Yeah. Or I saw something where they tagged it like, and then they had wild sex.
Yeah,
Oh
the
yeah,
beginning.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was their honeymoon. They went to like a resort or something on some tropical island, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't want to swim. I'm gonna get like
Yeah.
sunburned." And but I mean, this just it's a short show, and I think probably this format's the best for it. As I understand it, it's a 4 web manga actually. I don't
Hmm.
think it's published in like any sort of magazine in Japan. Just the guy on I think Pixiv or whatever it is, just publishing
Oh.
it himself.
Oh.
And so I mean, that's
Wow.
that's pretty good. Actually, it's impressive if you think about how it garnered so much popularity to even get a short anime. It's kind of impressive to think about that. And so far, it's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the husbands being more, being weirder, and seeing how the wife deals with that.
I like the references. They had Ronnie Kenshin was on there. The first
They
few
had
minutes.
several.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I want to say one's from a Gundam, but I'm not sure. Yeah, the flashing eyes, whatever. It looked pretty funny.
Mhm.
Yeah, that movie that they watched, was that supposed to be Madoka? I thought it was.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was a
And
parody
I
of
mean,
Yes.
background.
the husband, oh man, he did not receive that well.
No. And she kind of liked it. She thought it was really neat.
Yeah, he was like analyzing everything about it, and she's like, "I was just watching because it was something." I was like, "That is."
Mm.
I'm like that with certain shows. I watched it for what it was, not analyzing every little detail.
But yeah, it's good for the format, and usually shows like this, you can really see them trying to cram into bits. And I think even here with the scene transitions that they have, you can see how much they're trying to fit into what I think is like a 4-minute episode. I
Yeah,
can't remember
3 to
exactly,
4, yeah.
but
Mhm.
the jokes are working right now. They're good, which for me isn't the case for most of those types of shows.
Yeah, it could get old very fast. That's the disclaimer there, as always.
That's a problem when you're putting like 4 or 5 bits into one episode. Is that by the end you have like, I don't know, 30 or 40 bits or something, and you have this constant comparing of, well, this one was good, this one, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of shows that do the reference thing, like Miyako and Bimpo Gamiga, they eventually run out of steam. They build all these funny jokes, but then they kind of run out. You're like, okay, well, that joke's been used 3 times. It's not funny anymore. It was funny the first time, but it depends on like you said, it's short, so they can probably get away with more, not full blown, which is good.
All right, so we will move on to Gundam Reconquista in G, which actually has 2 episodes out right now. I have watched just one. Fosh, have you watched both?
Yeah, I've seen both of them.
Yeah, so I can at least say the first episode was kind of confusing. It kind of just threw us in things. It didn't really give us a story. There were characters, there were cheerleaders running around doing some things, and we saw Ida and Bellry quite a bit in that episode, and Ida's hair going all over the place when she took off her helmet.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. Yeah.
But the show definitely has a feel of more classic Gundam, and it certainly sounds like it. I was listening to the episode on headphones, and it just sounded like I was watching like Mobile Suit Gundam again or something. It is just it sounded old, and I wonder if there was a thing that they intentionally did with that, or what. But I don't know.
You can definitely hear the sound design.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can definitely tell they probably want to go more, maybe they go, traditional with the sound effects, and even the artwork. Even that looks like it brings back like old memories of like original Gundam, even Gundam Unicorn, which has a retro style character designs.
Mhm.
But yeah, like you said, confusing first episode. I would agree. Yeah, but I guess with our experiences, we've kind of known that Gundam starts off as slow, and the build up to the
Yeah.
middle, and then at the end we usually get the answers to all these questions because they
Mhm.
usually have 50 episodes. I'm hoping this one does.
Yeah.
The
So
only
they'll have
exception I
lots.
would say, yeah, Build Fighters is the only exception. They have 26, 25. It was the
Mhm.
shortest Gundam they've ever made, which is surprising to me.
But I guess the sequel together means it's eventually, although it was technically planned for 26, that
Right.
ultimately
Yeah.
it's going to be 50.
Yeah. Age did the same thing. It was only 25. Then out of nowhere, like, oh, we got 25 more episodes. Like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, cool,
So, and
maybe.
did people want that or no?
Not really. Not from Age. No.
Yeah. I watched all of Age, and I can tell you it was a bad decision to do that.
Mm.
Yeah. And the only thing I'll say about episode 2, they don't really get any more plot development either. There's more like, they kind of tell you that the different faction shows up, but it is telling you that there's these two rival factions against each other, like usual. I mean, it's typical mecha fodder here. We got like, two factions fighting, the war, and then by the end it's gonna be all like everything else, good versus evil, which is
Mhm.
most, Gundams are like that. But this
Yeah.
one has pirates, so I'm kind of interested in what they do with the pirate section of
Yeah,
it.
that is interesting. But
But
it
yeah, I'm excited
definitely,
for yeah. I can't wait to see
it
more.
yeah, it definitely is for classic Gundam fans, that's for sure, and hopefully new fans will find something to like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
character designs by the guy who did Eureka Seven's characters.
Right, they're very easy to look at and not, not, I don't think there's gonna
Hmm.
be any dirt moments in animation, but there probably will be. I mean, it is
Oh
50
yeah.
episodes. Maybe we could come to expect it, but I know Skyline watched it, so I don't know what he thought of the first
Yeah,
episode.
the world design reminded me a lot of Gainax's first film, maybe back in the mid '90s, called Wings of Hanamise.
Hmm.
Kind of
I've
had
seen that. Yeah.
that kind of bespoke built space tech to it. It was really neat. And the animation wise, I kept on thinking, am I watching Visions of Escaflowne again?
Oh, right, yeah. I would hand it to him for doing, hand-drawn Gundam designs this time
Hmm.
versus, CGI and everything up, which is kind of different,
Hmm.
but I'm trying to think back. They don't really use a lot of CG in their mechs anyway, but besides,
Yeah.
like, Unicorn.
Yeah, it's usually like their
What
big
was the
ships, like the Minerva from Gundam Seed, that they do something like that.
what was up with the
CG.
little worker mechs? The
Little
little
worker
worker
mech.
mix had those little fun, those funny little face boxes that had little squiddly bits in it, and then like when they flew off, it had that little gate shut up between them and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I'm just taking it as like they're like the low grade construction robots that, they're not military spec. Obviously, I think.
Hmm.
So I'm guessing that
But
could
a
be. You
welder
see it at
can't be a
school,
boss.
yeah. Yeah, that was cool. The welder fight versus the Gundam was kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Irish Shard said 3 factions actually. Yeah, I guess you say it's 3.
Hmm.
And something about Minovsky particles, which has been in Gundam for like a long time. I think.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think back when they first started using that term. Is it double O or further than that?
Yeah, I would think earlier.
Yeah, because I know it's a lot in Gundam Build Fighters, because that's the particle they use to move the robots, the little model kits. So I'm
Hmm.
like, what is this particle? I mean, I'm still confused on what it is entirely. I guess it's an energy source,
It's
but
Right.
magic.
yeah,
What it is.
yeah, Gundam magic,
It is
basically, pretty much.
mecha magic.
Hmm. Where did Skyline go? It's just Naru here now.
He's been replaced by Giggling Naru.
But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about Raid Conquista. I want to see more. See where
All
it
right.
goes.
Yeah, and I think you and I will be doing something with that. We haven't ironed out the details on that from Metatron yet, but
Right, got something.
look forward to that soon. So we'll move on to Selector Spread Wixos, the sequel series to Selector Infected Wixos.
And it tastes great on bread. Oh yeah.
Mm.
The delicious
It's like
tears of all the
tears,
girls.
exactly. It'll make you feel like
Yes.
down and depressed after eating it.
Hoshi, you watched this first episode. What did you think?
Uh, Actually, it was funny because I forgot I hadn't watched the last episode, so I was like scrambling to watch the last episode. When I finally did, then I watched the first one, and I was kind of mad because the first one is basically just like a recap a bit of the last episode, except with a lot more.
Yeah.
It hit me right in the heart already. I was like, please, like, calm down, please. I was like, the first episode, why do you already drag out my tears? I'm
Hmm.
feeling bad. And Yona was freaking me out. It was just like we didn't really find out her wish until the first episode, and I was kind of like, okay, that's kind of a little weird.
Mm.
But I like that little twist. I'm excited to see more. I'm just kind of mad that the first episode was just a little mini recap with Felix.
Oh. So there's no new scenes in this?
Well, there is, but it's like doesn't really show much. It just shows the girls just like hanging out and just dealing with, everything that's happened and stuff. So there's no like any new fights or nothing. Just fight a little bit more and that's it.
All right.
I'm so excited.
Sky?
Yeah, just as Hoshi said, it was a bit much on the recap side. It was nice to see Aldora be a little bit more chatty, because who cannot stand listening to more Kuroko? Well, okay, no. What's her voice actress's name again?
Fosh. Yeah, I don't know.
Who's voice actress?
For Kuroko from Railgun.
Oh, right, yeah, she's in there.
Satomi Arai.
Yeah, she's the
Yeah,
card
that's-
that other girl had.
Mhm.
Eldora,
Yeah.
that's her name. That's the
Eldora.
card she is, yeah. Credited episode 6. So we've seen her before, but yeah. The beginning of this, like how she says, recap the last episode, what happened. And more of, I guess, Ruko being, I guess she's still thinking about the last event that happened. She's still thinking about Tama. Where's Tama? And I think that's going to be the overall plot. Is her trying to find out who has Tama. Maybe I could see her maybe trying to strike a deal with that person. Let's duel a couple times and then fix all this. I don't know. I'm still curious if Ruko will get turned into a card by the end of the series, or halfway point, or somewhere near the end, where she switches spots. So I'm kind of curious what they do with that. And new characters. They showed new characters in the opening. I think they did. A few of them that were probably gonna be appearing here soon. So I'm
All right.
curious about that too. So I guess overall it's like more questions than anything. I still think the grandma has something to do with the story though. I still think she's involved or created the game or something.
Main boss.
Yeah, I'm thinking she's got something to do with it. I mean, who knows? That's my theory from season 1 anyway.
All right. So our next up is Log Horizon Season 2. We're back for more Log Horizon. Studio Dean at the helm now, although most of the staff personnel is the same, and as we talked about on episode 48, not really that much to worry about animation or direction-wise, I would expect. And the opening sequence, Foss, you saw this also, was really cool, very well animated, seeing a lot of these characters in action, sort of maybe seeing a little bit ahead of the anime where it's at right now.
Yeah, that's true. It was kind of cool just seeing them like back in action, and like you said, the artwork was just. I was surprised. I'm like, whoa, this is like they got upgraded to me almost.
Yeah, and,
upgrades, all of them have new armor. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to seeing. There's some characters in there that we didn't really see much of or at all in season 1, so I'm looking forward to them. But
yeah, that girl was like, she had these fist weapons or whatever. I'll try to remember who she was. I'm like, is she new? I know there's a pink hair girl.
Yeah.
She's new.
The idol, yeah, she's new.
Yeah.
Fosh, do you mind if I spoil the rest of the episode? I mean, I guess you're going to watch it eventually.
I'll watch, but it's fine. Go ahead. I mean,
Okay.
kind of figure out what's going to happen.
Yeah, so the ending to it was interesting because the implication was that they tried to go on the attack and they died. We see Shirei and Akatsuki sitting in this place and they're looking up at the planet, and so it seems like this raid that they were looking to go on, because Shirei is looking to raise 80 trillion, whatever the currency is in Log Horizon, which is a incredibly crazy amount, but he has a way, and they have to go on this raid. But I don't. When I saw it, I thought like, there's no way Log Horizon, even with the level 90s that they have, are strong enough as a whole to go on this raid and win. So I guess they tried to and failed. But it'll be interesting to see in coming episodes like how that affects their memories.
Right, because that was the big plot reveal that they're not dying. I mean, but they're losing their memories, and slowly they forget who they are in the real world. That's why they get comfortable with the game world. But yeah, those sounds like they're doing the more MMO thing, where a real MMO you have to have multiple people to help you with a raid. You can't do it by yourself. So I mean, that's the aspect of Lock Horizon I really like. They incorporate the game mechanics into the storyline.
Yeah.
But other shows, I'm not going to mention a name, don't really do that very much. It's more about the characters. But I guess it's night and day for those shows. But
Yeah.
yeah, I want to see what they do with the new characters in Lock Horizon. I know there's a bunch of new ones they add.
Yeah. All right, so next up is Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works Episode 0. Just merely a prologue, but not just merely, because it's a 47-minute prologue featuring the story of how Toshiko Rin summons Archer. And for people that watched Fate Stay Night back in 2006, you might be familiar with some scenes there. I know Kyokai was on Twitter. She was tweeting about it in terms of adaptation and stuff, and the fight that we see with Lancer and Archer near the end of that episode was just a display of how great Ufotable is with action in the Fate series, and I'd be hard pressed to find any other series like that on TV that's had action as good as the things that we've seen throughout Fate Zero and in this first episode. But the Rin stuff was very interesting to see more in full than what we had in the original Fate Stay Night series for guys like me who had only just seen that anime and hadn't played the visual novel or anything like that. Sky, how about you?
You know, I've only seen Fate Zero and, of course, Prismilia. So it was nice to finally, after being scared off from the Dean production for so very long, to be able to step back into the world. It was neat to see Rin portrayed as pretty much a completely different character than she was in Prisma, because that's my only real experience with her. So you know, this is herself as her own character and not being, you know, having to play by the rules that are in the Prismilia universe. And about the only negative thing I can say about it is that Lancer's costume looks like a really badly drawn superhero costume.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
I mean, it's you know, everyone in Fate Zero looked really cool. I mean, that was a really great character design. And then you got this guy in spandex. It's just like, wow, that was a brave character design choice right there.
Brave. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
And interesting.
I watched the first 15, 20 minutes of it, and it's basically with Rin walking around school. I was like, even like you just said, the artwork and the fight scenes, like during the background, just like, Rin walking around, like the environment is like just so well drawn. I'm like, jeez, these guys really know what the attention to detail is very, very high up there for them. You summon Archer and they had a little talk, and it was pretty funny just watching the interaction between Rin and Archer. He doesn't really like her at the beginning, and she doesn't like him, but you know, a few minutes later, they're kind of like, oh, I forgot, you know, you have this magic power in you, so like, he starts respecting her. I'm like, and then she just drops the bomb, and I'm like, go clean the stair, go clean my house, whatever. He's like, what kind of servant am I? And in the morning, he like brings tea for her. I'm like, wow, this guy. That's one question I would ask. Like, you know, is there a reason why Archer has the same color scheme as far as clothes as Rin, or is that just a design choice for the family she represents?
I think that's just a design choice. I mean, that's definitely a Kyokai question, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask her. I'm like, is there a reason why? And also the comment about the time, because she was saying that all the clocks were, you know, 1 hour behind her house versus in their school. So I don't know. It seems kind of funny. I'm gonna enjoy it. I mean, like you said, I watched the first original by Dean, so I'm gonna see what they do, and I hope the CGI dragon they show in this one's better. Hopefully.
Yeah. But yeah, it was good, and it was great how they started it, also kind of reminding us from the ending of Fate Zero with the whole thing about finding out about Tokiomi's death and sort of getting some of the stuff, and her trying to summon Saber, which I don't think was really told, if not at all, not well in the original Stay Night series. But it almost seems like easy pickings to say, oh, you know, Fate Stay Night, Dean, stupid.
The other thing I thought was funny is like Rin's dad calls her over the phone, like this message about summoning a servant. I thought it was pretty funny. I'm like, over the phone, huh? That seems kind of funny to me. I'm not sure why.
All right, so we have actually, no, let's go ahead and finish up the anime here. Madan no O to Vanadis, or Lord Marksman and Vanadis, is it's kind of the anime that you would expect it to be when you see, here's one guy, here's our hero, and he's camped with this group, and there's all these war maidens, and they're very attractive and voluptuous, and one of them likes him. So there's a lot of the show is very typical, but I kind of liked the characters enough that it wasn't. I was kind of expecting it to be not very good, but with the main girl, the main war maiden, and Tigra, the main guy, it turned out to be a pretty okay first episode, despite being very typical in its execution.
Yeah, that's a fantasy setting, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I've noticed there's a lot of those out this season. There's at least 3 or 4 that I can, just by judging by that cover art, that
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, but I was interested in just looking at it.
I thought there was you know how they do eye catches in these shows,
Uh-huh.
and they put they're putting like definitions of things that they're saying, and they put prisoner as a definition. Really?
Well, sometimes you might forget what it means. You want to remind you, just in case, you've never been a prisoner before or something.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
Yeah, and then
Or you grew up under a rock.
yeah,
Like, there's a cat, like Nico means cat. Like, okay, thank you. I
Yeah.
forgot about that. Should have all man watching. But
Oh,
yeah,
you
like you said, the
got
character designs look pretty cool. Yeah, alright, thanks. But yeah, I've seen the character designs look pretty cool.
The hair in that show is apparently fabulous.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
and it's in all the right places for censorship reasons.
Well, you know how it works, right?
One girl's just bathing it at the end of the episode because that's what normal people do. That's what the war maiden does.
Right, yeah.
In some secret.
That
Well,
show and Gundam
Go
Recon
ahead.
used to, both have nice hair designs. So we've
Oh,
got
yeah.
all the hair for both those shows.
I'm gonna have to ask Min to see if he wants to put the Venedus into MetaVerse because it pretty much fits the bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Looks like
it
would be.
does. There's nothing we've seen so far, but it definitely looks like a series that's going to be using the censorship feature on more occasions. Lightbeam, Kun, and Shadow.
Shadow-chan.
Yeah,
In Steam, whatever. Steam Senpai is in there.
yeah.
Seems
Whatever you call him. I'm gonna make up names here. He's there.
And in one episode of Ilya, they had what I call bubble cheat.
Yeah, Bubbles, that's right. I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So we have a couple more shows to discuss here. We have Ushi Nara Wareta Mirai wo Moto Mete, or Searching for the Lost Future. This is the Feel show, and this is very much a rom-com kind of mystery series. You see at the beginning there's a scene that looks like a failed experiment, and the doctor guy is all kind of depressed about it not going well. And then you kind of get into a very typical school anime. This is a lot of club stuff, a lot of very typical lines, very typical scenes, very typical music cues. Like, hey, here's a crazy guy coming in. We're going to play some rock music. I was very cynical for most of the episode, and then they had a scene where the girl does indeed confess, and I was like, okay, well, death flag right there. And sure enough, she drops her locket on the street. Bus hits her.
Oh,
Yeah.
But the thing about there were a couple things. There were a couple things that I didn't get in the episode, to be perfectly honest. The first being that they had like a overlay of like a slash and the day, like a number like 13 or 14. I guess they were moving through days on the calendar during the course of this first episode. And then they showed what looked like a repeat of a scene that we had seen earlier in the episode during the credits, but it turned out different, and we see that there's a naked Loli there at the end of the episode. So I think it's going to be one of those weird kind of rom-com series that has this kind of mystery element to it.
yeah, it almost sounds like Robotic Notes without the robots. They had a lot of mystery in that. It was, slice of life, all these
Hmm.
weird characters, and the big mystery of what's going on. And it was, since the girl got hit by a bus, now I'm like, now might be another. Like, people might die left and right here in this show. If so, then I'll be like, oh, that's interesting how they do that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And the last show that we have so far, we haven't actually watched it yet, but Fosh and I have experience with reading the manga to World Trigger, the Toei animation series. Before having watched this, I just hope that the anime can do a better job at being more entertaining than what the manga was, because I don't think the story is that particularly good. It took a little too long for me to pick up. I read 20 chapters of the series. I wasn't too crazy about the alien aspect. I'm certainly not crazy about the fact that they're called neighbors, which I think is kind of a dumb name. Although there is a whole thing about a parallel world, and these aliens come from there. But neighbors they always pick stupid names sometimes.
Yeah, they do for monsters.
It's like in High School of the Dead, them.
Yeah, they can't see a zombie. Yeah.
That's one of the good things with live. I can just roll my eyes with a reaction shot there.
Yeah. I haven't really watched it like you said. I mean, I read for the first 4 or 5 chapters, and yeah, like you said, the manga had a little more energy at the beginning, especially when the two main characters, Yuma and I think his name's what his name, Osa, whatever. When they
Yeah.
first meet each other, they kind of don't really get along, and that to me was kind of funny. I liked how they did that in the manga, but yeah, now that they have voices and they can move around and stuff, I'm hoping they do a little bit more with that. But I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical of Yuji Kaji voicing a serious role. Last time he did
Mhm.
that was Guilty Crown, which didn't work out so well.
Oh,
Black Bullet was kind of the same. He was just very serious all the time. So I'm like, I'm not really a fan if he's a serious character, but maybe he might do good with
yeah.
it. I don't know. But yeah, like
Yeah.
you said, the monsters are a little weird. They're called neighbors. It's kind of strange. And yeah, I'm hoping they, do something with it. And cause I don't know, a lot of people are complaining that since Toei's doing it, the animation's not gonna be that great, which I kind of can
Mhm.
see, kind of agree on. They're not. I mean, they have One Piece, but some of that stuff gets a little derp sometimes too, as
Yeah,
far
they
as designs.
when they do action good, they do it very well. And
Uh,
people that watch Greek here, like you see
yeah,
that a lot. And there's some times where some One Piece episodes can look very good. Although
right.
the difference there, you're talking about a 600 plus episode series where they're outsourcing many of the minor episodes to like Korea or whatever to do.
Right. When it's a high action episode, yeah, they will actually, like you said, spend more time on it.
Like we gotta
But
bring this in house.
yeah, and I'm surprised at the voice cast on that. We got, Jen Fukuyama's in that, Hanakana, like I said, Yuki Haji's in there, Rei Kukumiya. So it's all these top tier actors in this show, and it's kind of like I want it to be a good show because of that. But if it's
Mhm.
not, then I'm kind of disappointed that all these good actors are kind of,
Yeah.
doing this for a paycheck, maybe.
Yeah, I'll be interested to watch, but my expectations are not very high, and I feel like maybe you feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch it like you said, and maybe I'll do something, but I'm not gonna hold my breath for this being anything special.
All right, and that's all the shows we have to talk about right now. Of course, there's going to be a lot of first impressions posted those on Metanorn. I figure maybe sometime later this month we'll be talking about like some of the shows as they get like their 3rd and 4th episodes, sort of get a better feel of where these shows are going and if we like them or not. And there's a lot we have to look forward to, like Chaika 2, Psychopaths 2, Mushishi 2.
Yeah, tons of sequels.
Mm-hmm.
At
All right.
least 7, I think.
All right, so let's get back to the Q&A here. We continue with Blackbriar's questions right here. Everyone has a favorite theme. Like, for instance, Fosh is in Mecha, and Skyline is hopelessly dedicated to lowlies. If you looked back at the time when you first developed that interest, did you ever consider something else could have taken its place? Or would that have been too hard to believe? Which I guess you could apply that to now. Like, would you ever... I mean, it's ridiculous to think it would change, right?
Somewhat. That's a really. I mean, that is just assuming that I'm into one particular genre or one particular thing when I watch anime. That's one of the great things about the entire medium. It's not a genre. It's a collection of genres, and sometimes you can smush those genres together. So I mean, you know, the whole thing for me about having a lowly fandom is more or less a joke when you get right down to it half the time. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of me reframing the question and not really answering it.
Yeah, it's kind of like when sports broadcasters they sort of throw around these phrases for football or whatever. It's just kind of like to spice things up, just to have a little fun with it instead of just being totally serious all the time. And you can kind of have fun with that as Skyline on Metanorm, but not at your job.
Right, yeah. I mean, for
Oh
me,
no.
like, Magical Girls kind of, I used to didn't like them, but, since I got introduced to Precure and everything, I kind of like them. And shows like Vivid Red Operation did a mixture of like Magical Girl and Mecha, sort of, with kind of mechanics they use. So that kind of, gave me that, both the best worlds, mechs and Magical Girls. So I'm still waiting on other shows to do that, where they blend in different things together. Like Core Zombie is my best example of blending in all these horror themes like vampires, zombies, and necromancers and throwing them into a comedy, which to me you think that wouldn't work. It sounds more like a serious show. But yeah, it actually works. So
Yeah,
I kind of like that when they blend, like Skyline was saying, when they blend themes together. It's pretty fun.
yeah.
We just had the Six Tommy Invaders, and that was a blending of so many things.
Right,
I
it
mean,
was.
aliens. You got the magical girl. You got ghosts. You got I guess Earth people was a thing. I didn't know Earth people was a thing, but I guess
People from the underground, yeah.
yeah.
Subterranean underground
Subterranean
dwellers.
Yes,
people.
exactly.
Which I'm like, why didn't they find them before? But okay, it's a plot hole. It's like all these people exist. We knew about them thousands of years. Like, what? Anyway, but yeah.
All right, and this is kind of a follow-up to that one. I think everybody could answer this one technically. If you have a favorite theme about it, exactly why is it your favorite? What led you to it? How is Lowly's just basically? You want to let the cat out of the bag?
How are we phrasing the question again?
About your favorite theme, exactly why is it your favorite?
Just the whole kawaii thing, really, when you get right down to it. I said it's a bit of a joke. I mean, it's just, call me a lowly con when you get right down to it. I have a complex about the lowly complex because it's just ridiculous when you get right down to it. So I'm just telling a joke to its farthest possible extent.
All right.
Right. I mean, I was trying to remember where I got my interest in mechs. I think it was like when I watched Evangelion for the first time, back when that was the TV series. I watched it I remember downloading the torrent. It took a couple of days and got it and I watched it. And I don't know, something about it, just seeing the mechanical things, just giant robot just beating the hell out of a monster. I'm like, well, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Then I got the Gundam and all that.
Yeah, I don't know how you could like mecha without liking the mecha. Like nobody would go, "Oh, I love the storylines in that," because they're very much the same from time to time, with a lot of political ideas thrown in there and different factions, and sometimes racism kind of plays a role in there. So I mean, if you like mecha, you like giant robots. I can't think it would be any more difficult to explain than that.
Yeah, maybe the idea of just like you said, the war and all that, so it's kind of interesting. And most of the time, there's you get a rare chance where a mech series isn't really about the robot. Like Code Geass, it has mechs in it, but it's not about the robots. El Reca 7, the robot's there, but it's just part of the plot. It's not really gonna, we gotta stop the giant machine before it does something. No, I mean, like you said,
All right, so we'll move on to another question here from Blackbriar. This is a bigger one and more involved. Do you agree it's pointless to go through with an adaptation of a manga that doesn't yet have an ending, or at least a spot for a cliffhanger after a crucial arc, and force an anime original ending on viewers who are fans of that manga, which also results in hurting the series' chances for a proper continuation? That it's a safer bet to go with another that has a considerable amount of material and wait for the intended to generate more of its own. So I think I'll No Exorcist is a good example of a series like this, where there certainly weren't enough manga chapters to just keep going with it the way you would with One Piece or Naruto or even Hunter x Hunter when the Madhouse started the 2011 series. That had an anime original ending. There was no idea when the manga was going to end, and it was kind of awkward for me when I was watching it because I knew, oh, it's going to have an anime original ending, and for some reason, when I know that and when I see it, you can really tell sometimes that the ending feels original because it feels different than the spirit of the show because anime or the anime production staff, they're trying to write an ending that fits. I wonder sometimes how much input the original author of the source content really has. So sometimes that can be very tricky because there's all these great materials that are sitting out here that anime studios want to make because they think it'll sell, like Shingeki no Kyojin, which, I mean, there's only 60 chapters right now. There's only about 40 or whatever when the anime was being made, but they knew that was a big deal, and that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah, Attack on Titan is like another good example where it ends. You're like,
Yeah.
what? In the manga where that part happens is kind of important.
Yeah.
So it almost makes you feel like, are they advertising a giant commercial just for the manga? You know?
Yeah.
And
That's how I
I think
feel
Bones
it
you'll see
is.
that too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bones does that too with all the bunch of
Yeah.
shows for the original Full Alchemist.
Hoshi?
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say, like with Attack on Titan, like there's no way we could do a second season, but there's no way they would be able. There's no way they could put an original ending because the way the manga, the story is, and even the manga, there's like in the beginning. So I think it'd be worthless for them to make a second season. I know they would want to. It makes a lot of money, but I think it'd be worthless because they can't stick an original ending to it because people who read the manga will be like, oh, you can't do it. Like, with that question, I think it just depends on what kind of story the manga is. Like with all the extra shows, it's easy to put like an original ending to because it's shown in kind of, but like with like any other story, it's a little bit different. You have to kind of like Kuragahime. I remember I didn't like when it ended. People were kind of like, oh, it's kind of a blah ending, but it's like, well, what can you add? That one I can understand because it's, the manga, because that's easy to put an ending to as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like Attack on Titan is a super special case where it's like, even in the manga, nobody knows any idea what the heck is going on, and it's so totally different than from the first season. Now it's like, there's no way you could do a second season, and you'd have to have another cliffhanger, and you have to wait another 1 or 2 or 3 more years until it finally finishes.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah.
Seasons, but it's like it won't. It's gonna lose its momentum eventually because people are gonna be like, okay, well, this is kind of boring. Because even I don't read manga anymore because it's so many questions. It's like, okay, I'm gonna wait till this finishes because I'm being in a cliffhanger like every single month. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, even I read the manga, and because it comes out once a month and it's only 40 pages, there's not really that much content after the anime, and it's still like, oh, there's so many questions that I have from season 1 that haven't really been answered. They're doing some other things, and it's kind of interesting, but, we still don't know what's in Aaron's dad's basement or anything like that.
Yeah, that's true.
I think a thing of where that can actually work bad, sort of like a crucial arc, was Kami-sama Dolls, if you guys remember that. It was a show that was, a lot of people really liked it, and some were just kind of like, oh, this series really isn't that hot. And it wasn't one that was apparently selling very well on Blu-rays, but they did this whole cliffhanger and this tease for the next big thing, and it looked really cool. But the thing is, we may never get a season 2 of that anime because I think it's been about 3 years since it aired. So, like Foss, you were mentioning that it could be just a commercial for the manga.
Yeah, I think Tokyo Ghoul did that too. It was like, it was fun to watch, but it's like at the end, they're just saying read the manga basically.
The benefit they have now is that they know the manga's ending.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if. Oh, okay. And I believe the season 2 was that announcement official?
No, it's not. Nothing
Okay.
confirmed. The announcement was made by like a Chinese streaming company, which is questionable. But and I believe they actually retracted it wasn't an announcement. I think it was like they kind of like just said, oh, this slot is going to be for that or something along those lines. Yeah. And then they retracted that statement.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what exactly the case is. It would make sense for there to be more, considering how the first season, or the only season that we have, ended.
Mhm.
And honestly, I would look forward to it because you can't just leave us standing there. That's like
Yeah.
that was a terrible way to end the show. If
Mhm.
if we could pretend that's not the end, then I would be a lot happier.
Yeah.
And yeah.
With my experience of seeing all these video game news things like, oh, this guy from PlayStation in India said this, and then they retracted. Like, eventually that stuff comes true. So I would, if I'm a betting man, I would bet on a season 2 of Tokyo Ghoul sometime in the near future.
Yeah. The only thing I add to that question is like, do you think you guys know any other shows that the Full Metal Alchemist did it where they had the first season ends kind of and they
Hmm.
did a reboot. I mean, do you want to see more things like that? I mean, Hunter x Hunter, I'm not sure if they're going to do a
Uh,
manga ending or what they're going to do with it, but
Black Butler did that. Uh,
mhm.
I know Hoshi watches that, I think, and apparently people didn't like the way the first season went after they had to go off the path from the manga. I don't know if it was a content thing or just a choice of the animation studio, but then they came out with Book of Circus, and I guess the Kuro Shitsuji fans like that more.
Yeah, because that arc is like amazing. Like that, like if you read Crusader, that's like the best, probably like the best arc that they have.
Hmm.
That's why I was wondering why in the first season they didn't just add that in there. I was like, why can't you just end the series like that? That's a really good place to like end it. But they put this weird, totally weird, like original thing, and I was like, okay. And so I was like, I lost hope that they would do that. And when they finally came out, I was like, yes, this is finally. And I think they're doing okay too. Of one of like the second, well, like second favorite art.
Oh,
It's pretty cool.
Any more thoughts on that question? Should I just move on?
Well, you talk about material out there that they could probably move on with. The Index universe, the Railgun universe. There's plenty of material for them to do it. I mean, just looking at the light novels after Index 2 ended, they've got 26 episode series that they can do just based on that material alone.
Right. Yeah.
And with the manga, that's at least another 2 or 3. Three maybe. Railgun series.
Mhm.
I mean, and that's the property waiting right there. But the thing about it is they've sold through on all that property. There's probably no reason whatsoever for JC staff to put money into it.
Yeah.
Because they're probably just going to break even on whatever sales they get from it. So that kind of question, it kind of asks you to put yourself in the shoes of not just the animation studio or the publishers or the author. It's asking you to step in all the shoes of all of them at the same time.
Right, and I can see why they did with Railgun S, how the second half had that filler. It wasn't even in the manga or anywhere. So I can see they want to prolong the series. So I mean, it makes sense to do a filler. I mean, Bleach does it, Naruto does it. All these big shonen shows do the filler, where it's like we want to extend the story, but let the manga catch up and let the manga do something. That way we can kind of branch off, do our own thing, and then eventually get back to that. Which it works sometimes, but doesn't work all the time.
And to enrage the LN readers, I wish they would. I wish JC staff would do more Index because it makes the stories better.
Right. That's true.
All right. I feel like this calls back a little bit to last week, but is it wise to put all of one's faith in an upcoming series just because there are a few famous names attached? Author, voice actor, studio writer, director, etc. I feel like we put to bed the thing about studios is that you shouldn't be too reliant on them. But I think with the others, with like knowing Urobuchi Gen or knowing directors like Kenji Nakamura or Shinichiro Watanabe, having knowledge of them kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of what to expect as far as their style goes. There are some directors that you always see, like, this guy, the guy that directed Casher and Sins, will come in and do some anime episodes, and you'll really see his style. But I feel like you can be you could be putting all your faith in it is kind of silly, I think. But knowing these voice actors are in there that you like or something, it can. I think it's okay.
Yeah, for me, a certain actor, she voiced Squid Girl, Sako, whatever, Kanemato. If she's in the show, 10 to 1, I was going to watch it because I like her voice. But yeah, like you said, putting faith in like a certain writer or a certain thing. Even the studio, which makes best example would be Shaft. They did all these great shows, but then they do make Kaku City Actors, which is kind of like
Hmm.
it's very miss. So, but yeah, I guess you could
Or
say
Nisekoi.
a certain writer or Nisekoi, yeah, I guess do a little
Well,
like
I
that.
don't know about that because Nisekoi is getting another
Another season,
season.
yeah.
Oh God, I'm gonna
Is
trudge through
is
that, I
that
guess.
is that before or after the food porn?
After, I actually haven't even confirmed the airing date of Nisekoi 2. It's just been announced like a few days ago.
Yeah.
The food porn one is, I believe, winter, right? Does that
Yeah,
sound right, guys? Okay.
Shaft. Hmm. Yeah, that Nisekoi announcement comes at a time when I've dropped the manga because I have finally had enough of filler chapters. Like it
Yeah.
gets to a point to where I'm just, well, okay, here Sugumi does this thing, and oh, here comes Ona there. She does this. Chitoge comes in, does this. Marika comes in. It's just all. I mean, it's all the same, and especially when you're not moving the story forward, it's really annoying. And so I feel like I have finally freed myself from Nisekoi.
Yeah, when I was
Yay.
writing for that show, I actually tried. I told myself I was going to follow along with the manga. I actually asked if I should read the manga first, and people were like, it's probably not worth it. Just follow along. And so I followed along, and then the show ended, and I had absolutely no desire whatsoever to continue reading it. It's just when that happens, because it's just got this really bad reputation now for being much ado about nothing, really.
Yeah.
Quite the best way to describe it. And I've got to wonder if what's his name again, the author.
Now
Uh,
she coma or something.
yeah, I gotta wonder if he is assenting to this kind of storytelling, or if he's being forced by like publishers or editors or managers or whatever to just continue to drag out. Because he's done some arguably better stuff before. I think the Double Arts was one of his other works that I read before, and I thought that was great. And then I believe that one got axed, or it ended suddenly, and that's a problem of its own. But here, it's like I guess Nisekoi was somehow the stars aligned, and it was a massive hit.
Hmm.
And then,
Were those others in Shonen Jump?
sorry, what were you saying?
Were those others in Shonen Jump?
Double Arts? I forget. I would imagine so. Double Arts was about there's like a virus outbreak or something along those lines in the world, and there are these like girls who can heal people through touch or something like that. So there's someone. It's kind of like Jesus basically. So someone's sick, you touch them, and they're good. But only like these certain girls can do that. And I forget the rest of the plot. It's been a while since I've read it. But that was it definitely didn't have that same atmosphere of, oh God, when will it end? So I'm just wondering, like at times, because I remember another similar situation happened with Medaka Box. If you guys have
Yeah.
read it, I know there was an anime for that a while back, and that kind of fell apart quickly, unfortunately. But the manga was massively popular, and in that case, that was Nisio Isin, I believe, writing it, and there were rumors going around that he was really loathing it because he was kind of being forced to continue. I mean, it was never confirmed. There were no official statements or whatsoever. But like, if you read the manga, people were like making all these weird connections. Again, this could be like some sort of conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat thing going on. But like, the manga is very sarcastic, breaking the fourth wall. Just like saying, "Oh yeah, this is shonen. That's what happens." And then there's a new bad guy whatsoever, and people were taking that because we know Nisio is kind of a witty guy. He likes to do those things, and people were thinking that he was making a statement about being forced to continue the manga. Uh, and I guess it kind of showed because by the end of Medaka Box, people were starting to wonder when will this end because we've gotten bad guy of the arc number, I don't know, 10 or something, and it's really getting dull. They keep getting stronger and stronger, and then Medaka keeps getting stronger and stronger, and then at some point it gets so ridiculous. Actually, it's kind of like Bleach too, I guess. Think about
Yeah, it can be.
that.
Yeah.
But it's all shonen, so there you go. That's the problem right there. It follows that pattern, and I guess the pattern sells, but it's a self-destructive pattern because eventually people will start saying, I'm tired of this. Please end.
Yeah.
And
And I think ultimately there are some authors like that Nisio, famous for his light novels,
Mhm.
not really fit for doing a manga. Like there were the guy that wrote Durarara did Stealth Symphony, and that only lasted 21 chapters before they ended it, or canceled. Actually, would be the proper term there. Um,
Well, Nisio has written some other things. I don't think he's written too many serialized works, but I think he's written a few one-shots here and there, if I remember correctly. I was reading something the other day that was credited to him. Wonder if I can find it again. But anyway, he's dabbled a bit in manga, so it's not like he doesn't do it at all.
But I mean, the difference between those one shots in Medaka box is 100 plus chapters.
Yes,
200.
yes, admittedly.
Let's see here. Let's move on. Get to this one. There are many worlds to choose from in anime. Which ones would you like to find yourself in? I think Fosh, Sky, and I answered this on episode 47. So we'll start with Hoshi and then go to Smiley next. Anime worlds you'd like to be in?
Oh my goodness. It's kind of hard.
Hmm.
Mm,
We can go back to you if
I just want to be
Smiley.
in Kuragekime World because, yeah, let's go back to me. Just trying to think.
All right, Smiley.
A lot of anime to go back to.
Okay, I'm going to have to give a kind of tongue-in-cheek answer to this. It would be just wonderful to be in the world of Mahoka because, first of all, I'm an engineer, so I get to be a magic engineer, right? And then I can project myself into the character of Jesus Onisama, and basically that means that I can be a badass. I'll never die. My friends will never die. My enemies will turn to dust, and everything's good. I mean, I got a cute little sister who wants to get in my pants. Everything's good. Like, what could you ask for? It's the perfect world. Really, it's like, it's the ideal, and we should all strive to reach that ideal because, Onisama is perfect.
He's God. He's not Jesus. That's
Yes,
Kirito.
he can fly. He doesn't really walk on water, but he can fly. So you
He
might as
can
well walk on
fly.
water. He can, resurrect the dead. What else can he do? Can he turn water into wine? No, he can't. Well,
He could probably make a
okay.
magic spell for that. Or
Yeah, but
magic map.
Yeah,
he could turn cash into wine, which is much simpler.
but I mean, well, more seriously though, like that universe is interesting because of the way they tried to make magic scientific. Uh, I mean, it's all fiction, I understand, and just like Index they say science, and it's really like ESP, which is quite supernatural, But it's all based on some sort of scientific theory. Here, though, it's different. They make a whole new branch of science based on, uh, I guess, magic and how magic interacts with classical science, so to speak. I don't know. It's a cool concept. There's some times when I wish that we could do some pretty cool things in the real world. Other times, though, if I watch a show that's too fantastic like that, I just kind of roll my eyes and say, yeah, that's not going to happen. But in the case of Mahoka, it'd be cool. I mean, they're talking about, what was it, a fusion reactor using gravity magic or something. I mean, that'd be really
Yeah.
neat if we had a fusion reactor. Granted, we do have them nowadays. They just aren't producing more power than they consume yet. But we're working on that. Somewhere along the line, we might be able to manipulate gravity or something. I mean, we're getting what was it, the Higgs boson or something was tentatively
Yeah.
confirmed, and that has to do with mass of particles, and you all know mass and gravity are linked, and maybe we'll be able to study that to find things out about gravity, and then maybe we can do something like fusion with weird gravity, because for all we know, there's this famous quote, I can't remember who it's attributed to, but it's like, it goes like, science that's sufficiently advanced, something like that, is indistinguishable from magic. And so, Mahoka set in the near future, could very well be how the world might end. end up in our own world might end up in the future. It'd be cool. That's just my own little fantasy there. Of course, I also want to be a god and Jesus, but you know.
Sure.
Wow, that was a more than I thought for an answer. Hoshi, back to you. Got an answer?
On a funny one, I would like to be in a sports anime because I think that'd be just awesome. Like as an actual sports anime character though, because then I could do all the cool jumps and freeze frame for like 5 minutes and talk to myself and just like
oh yeah.
Like a haiku. The ball's in the air for a good 10 minutes. Yeah.
And they're just like talking to themselves and they're just sitting there in the air for like 10 minutes. And
Yeah, it's like the ball's like still going.
I'd probably go on a one-day race for like 5-6 episodes. Like that'd be amazing. That'd be fun. But the serious one, I think I would kind of be like an exorcist. So I could be like an exorcist. I think I really like the whole like the exorcist stuff and series. And then psychopaths simply because I want the future to be like psychopaths. I can just change my clothes with one little.
Oh yeah.
That is cool.
I like the future. I like the future setting. Everything else, I'm like, okay, but I like the future as like.
And even just changing your whole apartment to make it look nicer than what it really is.
Like, I don't need to actually buy the things. I can just be like, hey, I want my apartment to look like this.
Mm-hmm.
Bam. Yeah.
It'd be so nice. Your parents come over, you just push a button, and your place is immediately clean and neat.
Yeah, I totally made this 5-course dinner for you guys.
Go download the app. Download that app.
All right, we got. I think we got one more question here from Blackbriar. For the bloggers who've been part of the team for more than a year, which I think is all of us at this point, do you feel a huge difference between now and when you first joined? In other words, if you found yourselves more ease with writing. I've retired from writing. I do this now, so that's your answer there for me. I don't know. I think I feel more comfortable just doing this. I think it's much easier for me to do than write and look at my draft and just be critical of like, oh, I made this minor error, or I wish I would have talked about this or wrote about this before I published the post. Where here I kind of just feel like, I can talk about whatever stream of conscience and hopefully get as much as I want out of it, but I don't feel as critical of myself here as I do with my writing, so that's why I just stuck to podcasts. Bosch?
Yeah, when I first joined, it was more like, just doing a review from like A to B, and now I just do like A to whatever I want now. So I can talk about like a character did this, or something that I saw in the episode that was a reference to a different thing, like an index or railgun. But I think making like the memes I used to make, I think back when I first joined, I didn't make I try to make them as kind of funny, but late now it's just been kind of whatever top of my head I can think of. So I guess maybe I was trying to be like do a certain joke about a certain series, but now it's just kind of like, I'll do whatever I want. I'm not really as structured as I used to be, I guess, with the word I'd use. And maybe for me, it's kind of like I write something like, I kind of wish, I kind of want to do a different thing instead of do more audio-based stuff and or videos and things like that. Writing, I probably haven't no real drive lately to do writing, but if I have to, I can write some stuff if I have to. But I think I have more fun making the jokes and the memes and stuff, and the photoshops and all that. That's what I like doing, like for free. I'm not really vlogging this show, but I was doing the screenshots, and I had fun doing that.
All right. Yeah. Hoshi?
Well, I've been on here for a long time. It doesn't even feel like it because I get so busy for school, and it's like I feel bad because I didn't get to post as frequently or as much. Especially like for fall, like I have nothing planned because I can't handle it. But I feel like with the stuff I have done, I feel like I got a little bit better at like critically looking at anime because before I was just kind of like I see the surface level, but I don't get really like I guess underneath the surface you could say. Because I don't think of stuff like that really quick. Like it takes me a few days to really like come up with something very like constructive, and that's why I feel I don't feel very like I'm definitely not the best writer because I don't know, I don't have a lot of thoughts like that. I don't know, like I try my best, but it gets me a while. there's a show I really like, have a lot of, like drive to actually do it and don't do at all. Like Tokyo SP, I don't want to do at all because I hated it so much. But that's what got me a lot of writing to do. I actually got a lot of writing for that one because I didn't like, because I hated it so much. I had all these complaints. Like I could actually look at that constructed and like, okay, why do I hate this show? And I'm like, okay, here you go. Here's my reasons. And I watched them like 3 times. And I'm like, okay, got all my stuff. But I just wish it could post more and finally finish this backlog. I have like a bazillion shows. Even from summer, I'm not even done with summer yet.
Yeah, that's the impressive thing about. I'm sorry. That's the impressive thing about like with you and Overcooled here, being here for so long, and you're in college, and she's been through college. Smiley also in school, but you're still here, and we've lost many a writer to the college life. It demands a lot.
Yeah. Even Kyokai, who just got married, all 3 of you guys have like I said, like I was saying, you guys have that drive to keep going, and I like that. It's nice that you guys stick around.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I think that's like for the comments.
Even if it's very slow.
Yeah. Even if you had to do like 3 episodes, one batch, one post, at least you get it out there at least, so it's not bad.
Smiley, how about you?
Well, to address the answer in short, the question in short, the answer is yes. I have found myself more at ease with writing. Coming out of high school, I never really liked writing, and I think I know the reason why now. It's because nothing I wrote in high school I was ever interested in, except for one last paper, my senior paper, which was an open topic, and I wrote about the feasibility of building Death Star in our world. And the answer is you can't build the Death Star in our world, unfortunately. But so now I'm talking about anime, and I'm writing about something that I'm actually interested in, and I find myself it's much easier to write. I mean, I usually average maybe 800, 900 words per post. It seems pretty easy to write that when you're actually talking about something that you are invested in. And I feel that just me continuing to do this is quite useful because the rest of my writing consists of engineering reports, and it can get quite dry. I mean, yeah, the data's there. I'm also interested in that. I'm interested in the research that I do, but it's all technical and all that good stuff. Whereas here, I get to have some fun. I get to be a little spunky with my writing. It's not so formal. I sometimes like to say some silly things in my posts. People might notice that, but it's a nice change. It helps keep my writing alive, I think. Otherwise, I would just be very boring with my writing. But also, in the same way, kind of my engineering writing helps because it keeps my English in my posts quite proper, unless time calls for it when I just have to do something quite silly just for the fun of it. And then I can maybe be a little lax and say the spelling and the grammar rules. I tend to try to enforce them a lot. I'm not a grammar Nazi yet, but like I definitely go through my posts and look for mistakes. I mean, yeah, everyone proofreads, but I think I mentioned this elsewhere at some point. But I actually, after publishing my posts, I will go through them like a day or two afterwards just to find mistakes and fix them. And it's good practice, really. I know it does bother me slightly sometimes when I see our posts and I read them and I do see a few errors here and there. But I'm not grammar Nazi enough to tell you guys to correct your posts. So there's that.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the beginning when I first joined, Kale was doing that for me. I mean, I don't know, I was pretty bad on my grammar and stuff like that. I feel it's still not as good, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But if someone told me that a certain line was messed up, I wouldn't care. But I do remember one of my funniest memories was I think I reviewed, I forgot what show, I think of Railgun or Index, and I gave the character a completely different name than they had in the anime, and they called me out, and I read the post and like, oh my god, why'd I do that? I was calling John or something, like, what the hell? What'd I do that for?
I got called out on that on the second episode of Hana Yamato, and I kept on calling her Haru instead of Naru.
Yeah.
And so the very next post, I basically did a strike through. I did I did Haru, and I did Strike Through, and then had Naru following it just each and every time. No one called me out on that.
They gave up on you.
Yeah.
So has it been a year, Skyline?
No, I just started back in spring.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So it's only about 3 months.
You've been with us for
Or
longer.
6.
6 months, but 3 years commenting and doing all that stuff. It's funny because I've done a lot of freelance writing for PR firms, for sociology texts, for all sorts of other dry things like Smiley was talking about. And so I didn't give a lot of thought going into it. Kyo said you have to have some skills with WordPress, and I went, okay, I can write through WordPress, no problem. I'll just import, do whatever. And then I learned I had to conquer HTML again and learn all this other stuff, which I was always really weak at. For some reason, I thought,
Did we lose?
I
thought we lost you.
am I still here?
Yes, you
Yeah,
are.
You're back now, but you totally cut off when at the words somewhere on there.
Am I doing better now?
Yes, you are. So you're
Okay.
talking about HTML and WordPress.
Yeah, I didn't give it a lot of thought, but I thought that Fosh did all of the screenshots for all the posts and all the captions because they all had that funny element to them.
No, I can't take credit for all of them.
I didn't think that I would have to be the one that have to go through that. I just thought I'd be like writer monkey like I usually do, and then someone else would put it all together for me later.
Yeah.
So that first weekend when I was doing that first thing for, and Hoshi knows this, for Selector Infected We Cross, she was like, no, do this, no, do this, no, do this. And I'm like, what? What am I doing? What? This ain't my job. It's an editor's job. I pass this crap along to people and they do that. No, it's your job now, Cookie. Oh, thanks. But, you live and you learn.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you learn, like you said, how things go and everything. But remember in the beginning we were doing I had to do a plot summary, like a recap of the episode for the long time when I first joined Kyo. For some reason she was like, why are we doing that? Like, we should cut that out, and we did, and, and it works out pretty well.
Goodness.
Yeah, I remember she did a Fate Zero post like that or something, and then I did some post that I was working on like that, and we just realized that's really the way to go. I mean, you're kind of just wasting your time telling people what they watched. So I'm, I always think back fondly on the fact that that is gone.
Yeah.
All right. So that is all of our questions. All right. So we are done. MetaVerse Live. I'm gonna say it was a success. I have no idea how many people were watching or if they were commenting or anything like that. I was just kind of focused on actually hosting the show.
It's at 6 right now. There was a max of 7.
All right.
I'm watching us watch them watch us.
Yep, that's true.
I tried a couple of Inception moments like that lately, but I thought it was distracting.
Yeah. All right. So for those people watching, thank you so much for tuning in. It was great to have you as we talked about some of the fall shows and did a little Q&A. If we do this in the future, which who knows, we might not do it at the same time. We know there's a lot of other podcasts that are doing their streaming thing right now. And I'd like to get some of the other people I'd like to have overcooled and Min on something like this, or even Kyokai, of course. But sometimes, like the time that we're doing it at right now doesn't always work for them. So if we do it in the future, I'll try to come with a different time. So thank you for tuning in. I should mention the mini talks again one more time. Fosh and I and whoever are going to be doing Log Horizon and Selector Spread Wicross from Fosh and Skyline. And we still have that mecha thing with between myself and Fosh to work out the details of. So do look forward to that. And we are done. Let's close this out. For Fosh, for Hoshi, for Smiley, and for Skyline, Shinobu. Excuse me.
There you go.
I'm Jero, and thank you for watching. See you next time on MetaVerse.
See ya.